Hi, we are speaking to Arjun Pratap, CEO Edge, and I'm Ananya. I lead content at Edge. Today, we will be talking about our product Pathfinder and its benefits to the industry, people, employees per se. So, welcome, Arjun. Good morning.
Hi, Ananya. Good morning, and let's begin.
Yeah, okay. Arjun, like we were talking, that the assumption is that Pathfinder will increase efficiency, and how do you think it will do so in situations like these, gone through in a couple of months in the last year or so?
Yeah, firstly, Edge Pathfinder as a product, as the name denotes, is to figure out an employee's path in a very transparent fashion. What we have seen as a problem statement is transparency of talent, both for the demand side and the supply side, which is the organization and the employee, seems to be an illusion in many forms, right? And why I say it is because you come in with a certain aspiration based on your understanding of a role, and you figure out that you're doing other things depending on the context of time and what the organization requires you to do. And there's a gap that exists there. So, what have I come in for? What is the organization expecting me to do? Starts building that opaqueness. So, Pathfinder's reason to deliver this value to an employee is about transparency. Can I very quickly, very intelligently provide you as an employee a career pathway through skilling, through understanding what your peers are doing, what other people have done on this specific path, and then also provide you jobs that are available based on your eligibility. Now, this is a very employee-facing, application, and even our product, the way we are designing it in the product manager's thesis, an employee is a consumer who's used to accessing Netflix or Prime or Amazon and Flipkart, Healthify Me or Cult or Lever. You see consumer applications that sort of used to, like Lyft and Uber in the US, right? So everybody used to instant movement between point A to a point B. The via media is technology, and technology has to provide the employee that instant movement as a consumer of learning and pathways. That's what Edge Pathfinder stands for. The efficiency that has to be built, technology has to provide that efficiency versus providing more clicks as a hindrance. It has to simplify the journey for an employee, make it very transparent. And I think that is something that I'm going to ring the bell on. Talent transparency, very, very important.
Right. We spoke about how it's going to help employees. What are the benefits per se for HR and L&D teams? If you could elucidate on that.
Absolutely. A relevant question again, primarily because HR and L&D are beneficiaries of understanding their people because they represent their workforce, the employees, in many ways, right? A stability standpoint, from an engagement and development standpoint, right? HR and L&D, respectively, continue to invest their efforts current state, which is very fragmented because they might not talk to each other because of lack of data. Again, goes back into how information flows from one to the other, and that information, how relevant is one piece of information to the other. Part of what technology does is it normalizes this information and translates it. Right? One is the acquisition of the information, the other is the understanding of the information, the other is the normalizing of the information. So, say somebody is disengaged, the person technically can be disengaged because they're not satisfied with what they're doing. And if you can take that disengagement and dissatisfaction at one level and connect it to learning at the other level, which is literally taking this, normalizing it to a learning path, then your engagement suddenly might improve because you're starting to provide line of sight based on, say, just for the same job, the person gets more upskilled. Then they suddenly don't lose sight of being a part of the journey of the team or the contribution that's expected from them. More often than not, you find that the person's expectation, the organization's expectation, and that mismatch is the gap that nobody knows how to bridge. And we're also talking about people at this point who are used to instant gratification. We're also talking about the Gen Z and the millennial, the gig economy, as we call it, where who are used to working on digital devices, working through applications that service their needs, work on 3 clicks to buy something, 3 clicks to watch a movie, 3 clicks to eat something, right? So you're automatically saying that you're in a different world that requires this type of instant gratification and consuming to be mimicked within the enterprise. So if you're not able to see those signals and connect the dots between what HR represents and what L&D represents and make it interconnected through, say, what Pathfinder represents, which is a talent marketplace, employees to be able to learn, to recognize, to understand what their peers are doing, what people in different organizations or teams are doing, then there is a huge gap or a void that needs to be filled. The moment you're starting to bridge that with tech, you're starting to establish another standardized level of thinking, a new baseline, if you will, for employees to start leveraging, which means there's more productivity and performance that you can see as throughput for the organization to meet its strategic goals. Because you can't take employees and say, I'm going to organize you by revenue and margin goals in a very direct fashion. Employees have to be productive, have to perform to achieve revenue and margin goals, which are oriented to functional or team goals. That orientation has disconnect. So the maximum that you can achieve through HR and L&D functioning is throughput with productivity and performance, which indirectly, so translates from an employee to revenue and margin. But very directly, productivity and performance will translate to revenue and margin improvements.
Right. You spoke about the gig economy, millennials, Gen Z. So they're a different kind of a workforce altogether. And their demands are very specific, very, very different from the current workforce. So with Pathfinder, where do we see organizations move to in terms of bridging this gap, as you just said, and also with the seeing a change in workforce, we also seeing a change in workplaces. So how will Pathfinder put all these puzzles in one place? I mean, how will it place the puzzle together? Right now, it's all disoriented, dismantled.
So, in my view, see, when we talked about one is the nature of the workforce, which we talked about is the new gig workforce, the
Yeah.
nature of work itself, right? And you see LinkedIn saying that you can work from home forever, right? It's just that they're going to right size or right correct based on what your location of choice is and the salary equivalent to that, which means that there's going to be somebody who was staying in San Francisco probably got more money, and then the person moved to Austin or Plano in Texas, and then the standard of living changes. You can't get paid the same salary. So they're right correcting. But what does that mean? That means that work itself is evolving. Some people are saying we'll do a hybrid model. Some people are saying come back to work. Some people are saying work forever from home. So you're seeing different things peeling off, right? It depends on the context of the outcomes that the organization wants to drive. And it's also a choice that they are willing to leverage today based on employees and the satisfaction that they can drive there. Because one of the things that I see, even within the employee base that we have as a company, people fail to recognize how these choices are made and whether these choices are something that allow them to have a better life. It's usually the companies are judged based on their cost optimization movements or profit, driven actions, which is what a company exists for. Unfortunately, what gets lost is the ability of the employee to connect the dots to the employer on what the employer is turning around and helping the employee with, latently but directly with. It could be health insurance. It could be better working conditions. And better working conditions can be, internet bill at your home, right? The effectiveness of giving you a few perquisites that you did not get in the past that you can leverage from, home work environment or home office, right? How do you do that? So even organizations have to figure it out. It might seem on the outset very easy for an employee to judge the employer at that level, but it is important for the employer to also help the employee understand some of the nuances of making those calls. And what Pathfinder does inherently is it allows people to, one is start getting into a more uniform collective sense of being within the organization, so they understand where they are against what they're doing, where they are against what they want to do, and for the organization to have that transparency in their talent. They are able to look at what people aspire to do and sort of get that connection point there. Then you can start leveraging all the peripheral benefits. So there are lots of things that come as you develop as an organization. once you understand your talent better, right? The crux of all of this, be it a product company or a service company, is your talent pool. And the decisions that you make for your talent pool to sort of enhance themselves, the underlying theme is about establishing talent transparency.
Right. So, Arjun, is this question that I've been thinking about. How are organizations placed today, right? In the sense, this awareness, we need to do this, or how willing are they to adapt to this? Visibility is there, they're still thinking about it, or they don't even know that, there's something that could help them.
No, no, absolutely. They do know. Organizations are very aware of technology products and artificial intelligence automation that allows them to go to the next level because these are now steady state requirements. So buyers are very sophisticated in their asks and they're very aware of what exists out there. So I think the journey has begun, certainly. There's a lot of validation for competing products that Pathfinder will work to differentiate itself against, like companies called Gloat, Fuel 50, who have very very solid products that sort of come to mind when you talk about a talent marketplace. Pathfinder does compete with them. The difference today is Pathfinder is very integrated into talent supply chain as you would see it. And we have forecasting, planning, internal mobility and recruitment products that form an integrated environment. And you have a core graph that has close to 35 million profiles that it's learned from, close to 11, 12 million job descriptions that it's learned from, right? And has, taxonomy and ontology that powers it. It's a knowledge graph with natural language processing algorithms that allow you to get more proficient across what I talked about, which is acquisition of the data, understanding of the data, and normalizing of the data. Yeah. These are things that I think provide significant change in terms of this value proposition. So I think that organizations certainly know what they want, certainly know how to buy, have different models which are transaction based, employee based, monthly recurring revenue, annual recurring revenue models. Procurement teams are more aware that it can't be like how it used to be before in terms of enterprise license sales or simply a custom solution developed as a services project. Those things have shifted. People understand platforms better and what the meaning of a platform is versus it being in theory. I think those facts are clear. We don't have those challenges. Geographical challenges are more about data and literally buying behavior versus anything else.
Right. One question that I wanted to ask is, there has been a lot of talk about change management and leadership these days, right? If you could tell us a little about your view on how Pathfinder can help build next gen leaders within an organization and evolve, the organization, help in change management, etc.
That's a brilliant question again. See, the thing is that the evolution of people within an organization, if it's graphed and if it's understood across skills, competencies, roles, behaviors, and I'm talking about these different corners, which honestly, today we have some of those corners, some of them we don't. But the truth is that if you're able to cover those corners, then you're starting to not just graph the person's journey, you're also able to capture the person's inclination, performance, attributes, that will signal leadership qualities that then can be superimposed against the organization's requirement for succession, right? And then succession planning will become a reality. Otherwise, it's really a paint job. A lot of people talk about performance, a lot of people talk about succession planning. In reality, what are they doing? Connecting people to roles based on heuristics or past signals, and they're only left with those signals. So when you start doing it at scale, you lose sight of it. So if you look at performance management or leadership training and development, it's very human intervention driven today. There are a few, if not, very few products that can claim that they are doing it at a level which is scalable, right? And that itself is a huge gap. For it to be scalable, you need both sides of the coin, right? You need people who are beneficiaries of this development to sign up to it, the translation of this development within technology platforms to be a reality. And that, for me, is very disruptive right now. It's not in a state where you're plugging into building a better product, but you have to build a product that will deliver it, which means that you're building a category that has not been created. You're changing a normal course of life to reflect performance and leadership development and succession planning within products, right? not easy. Change management and leadership, development is itself, if you look at it, very human interface, instructor led, if you would call it, sort of intervention driven. It's not yet, I mean, we could be doing it this way, but you're still having this conversation, right? What if platform or the application was training me on nudges or signals and allowing me in a bite-sized, intervention-driven, literally every 2 days, every week manner, running me through a build-up and allowing me to develop my leadership skills and position me better, or throw me courses and monitor my courses that I conclude, assess me, get manager rating based on that course and assessment, all thrown into the platform is another way. And I'm just making this up, but if that can be automated, driven through technology, then you're starting to get headway into solving that problem. But till then, if you can create optics of having something there, and then you say that people will talk to you through video interface, and then we will monitor it and record it, and you'll be given an schedule that will be emailed to you, and that then is very periphery on the automation side, which anyway, if you sign up to a consultant who's doing leadership training, they'll schedule it on your calendar and they'll have a session across Teams or Zoom and do it. So what is the automated fashion of tracking? They'll also maintain an Excel sheet. So if you take that and put it into one application and say, this is what the platform is, and I'm maintaining everything here, and that data is then going to pull through into some heuristics that science will also learn from and then start making recommendations, that's going to be like a year down the line after you finish your first intervention and your second intervention for that same organization or multiple organizations, and collate that data. So it's still at a disruptor level. It's a great market, but it's very nascent, and it needs a lot of attention to detail to solve for, a lot of subject matter expert involvement, and a lot of tech involvement to build with the subject matter expertise on how they solve it in a manner, right? That problem customer pairing has to be understood really well for you to build product specific functionalities.
Right. So how is Edge Pathfinder moving on that path?
So we've cracked the best level of entry, which is we are not saying that we are doing all these things. We are doing a specific set of things for a population which is technology driven, right? So when we look at tech driven employees or people who are oriented to technology, which is now going to be most of the world, because you need technology to either directly help you in your job or indirectly apply some level of intervention in your job, then you are talking about a large population. So when we go to companies, we're not really going to say that we are going to help you build transparency for your leadership, build succession planning for you. But we're certainly going to do it at the level where you have this large population of people that enterprises are struggling to understand. So we build transparency for you, standardize your skill taxonomy, make sure your career pathways are understood between what we bring as market intelligence, what you define as HR career pathways for people across specific bands of employees and specific roles and skill combinations. We take that, we superimpose it with our intelligence across multiple organizations that we work with, and we are also looking at this on a daily basis when we graph it and sort of store it into our knowledge graph, right? Now, not only am I seeing signals of what specific jobs people can move to, what kind of skills they have as current to their profile, what they should be having based on an aspiration that they have on eligibility to do another job, and connecting it to learning paths that say an LXP like an EdCast or a Degreed or a LMS like SumTotal will have, right? We sort of connect the dots there. And that really becomes the crux of a talent marketplace, because now the employee is empowered. Now the employee has eligibility and chances to figure out what next navigation they are going to do in a career move within a company. And they're also going to say, okay, if I needed to figure out how to do better at a specific job, what can I upskill myself with? What if I wanted to move, but I'm not eligible? But if I did all of this, I would become eligible. They can make those choices. Today, those choices are currently very interfaced with intervention from managers, teams, and interfaces that are very static, or systems of workflow, not systems of engagement or intelligence. We're building a system of engagement and intelligence for a workforce that can be dropped in to a company, and then your employees are onboarded to it, and then they start moving into becoming a lot more real about who they are, where they are, what they want to aspire to do. And that is the signal of engagement and tension and development that you want to bring to your workforce. Otherwise, even if you had to do something new, that say I want to launch a new health insurance policy for my employees. I want to give them a wellness benefit across the board. I want to give them vouchers because they have done really well this quarter. And if I do it through the Pathfinder application, they're starting to suddenly see that all their interactions that the company is having, driving it through the Pathfinder application as a consumer, you're consuming, and you get more excited about saying, okay, I'm going to do a few more courses. Maybe the company will give me a few more opportunities. So, what our thesis is that learning and development, career progression is also one part of the integral journey of an employee, which also has multiple other facets which include this journey. So work is one thing, learning is one thing, and development is one thing, right? What about the other aspects of the employee's journey that you can cater to through Pathfinder, which allows you to say that Pathfinder is an application really that cares about me? Those aspects have to be taken care of, which is I like watching movies, I like shopping, I like traveling, I like eating specific types of food. Now that is becoming who you are, right? And if you're able to graph that into what the person is capable of through performance based on what you're graphing them as individuals across the board, that becomes the penultimate test of how a product like Pathfinder can work.
So, we've spoken about how it helps HR, how it helps various other departments. But now, if I could ask you, what are the business benefits? Because organizations are thinking about, yes, how it will help HR, how employees will be benefit. But ultimately, achieving business targets is also very important. So, in that perspective, how will organizations see themselves rolling with
So
Pathfinder?
I'll give it to you in a services context because employees are billable entities of the workforce. They actually contribute directly to margin and revenue gains, right? What happens is that employees can see eligibility and access to jobs basis the fact that they upskill, reskill, cross skill, or the fact that a job is available based on their current state, which means that they get empowered to self nominate themselves for a specific job or a specific career pathway or a specific learning path. So, when that happens, you're already capturing a lot of information. One is you're making a person continue to want to stay, engage, which means retention and engagement is done. You're also making a person develop themselves, which also means you're continuing to retain and engage. Now, if you look at these two aspects, engagement and development, create retention and reduce attrition. Now, when you create retention, you've already invested in your employees, and if they're engaging in more gainful employment, organization is gaining through billing dollars. If you're having people become proactive to a learning path because you're showing them a learning path for a specific career pathway that they potentially could go to, then you're again driving them towards productivity and performance, which leads to billing dollars, right? So again, a direct impact to revenue and margin. It can't be a more direct than this because you're giving the wheel of the vehicle, the wheel of the car to the employee and saying, now drive. Now, for that to become a reality, one is you have to have an application that allows the person to navigate. You have to have rules of the business that are fungible and open for the employee to get empowered. You have to make the ethos of transparency, diversity, equity, and inclusion a reality for the workforce. And then people in today's context are going to say, I want to continue to work here. 50% of your people who are tried because they don't see any career development pathways within your company. Right. So that's significant. If you can address that 50%, you're automatically starting to build revenue and margin gains with people that you've already invested in. The moment you go out to hire, your hiring costs is your cost per hire and your cost of hire is significant, right? So I think the math is very binary, and you can really put it down to a dollar value outcome where you can monitor your engagement and development through billing transactions, specifically in project based scenarios, and you can also do the math towards attrition and reduction in attrition based on the amount of the workforce that you're adding on your net add So I think there's a level of clarity that you can build on what is your ROI to products like this from a business benefit. So it's not like a nice and fuzzy. That is a certainty that I think we as a company drive back to businesses, because the nice and fuzzy is nice to have, not a necessity to buy. The moment you attach it to something that can build an ROI, people are then going to want to buy. Right. And this is a product that people need to buy, because at the end of it, you are addressing a problem that you couldn't have addressed otherwise because of scale. You have many things that happen which don't allow you to provide engagement at the scale and at the real time level that you require, which is the problem. And that's what technology, along with your subject matter expertise on what should be provided, when should be provided, get packaged well through a product that's oriented to employees. So I think this is my take on it. And I think there's significant movement towards people understanding the value for that. This is not a new problem statement. I think with the way organizations have built themselves and continue to build momentum, this continues to be a problem of recognizing where your workforce is. The other layer that's added to it is that 80% of companies are becoming project based. Product companies have projects that they run, innovation projects, versions that they build. It's very pod based, and you need to understand the configuration of a pod, be it a company in the healthcare space, a company in the retail space. They're all doing things at a different level. It's also about how they are adopting technology to drive change within their business outcomes. And that starts relating to how do you refactor your businesses. When you think about it today, you're talking about different modes of work. It's because they have the ability through technology to service that mode of work. Was it available yesterday? Not as abundant as today, because the business continuity plans that were engaged when COVID impacted have certainly survived and thrived to provide people with options, as in organizations and employees with options on what to do as you build yourself.
Right. I would like to add a point here that is something just came to my mind is another benefit that I can see is when my attrition is low, my people are happy. I'm giving them a career progression. I am giving them an opportunity to be the next generation leaders. It creates my brand value. So tomorrow, when I am out looking for people, the quality of my hire will also be good vis-a-vis what I had earlier. So that quality will also go up, which will in turn reduce my HR hiring cycle, if I could put it that way. Probably this is also a business benefit that organizations can gain.
Very significant point. So what you just said was that because of your upliftment of your engagement, your development through, say, a product like Pathfinder, you're automatically redefining the quality of talent within your company, improving it to a level which also sets the baseline for the quality of talent coming in to the organization. And that bar, if it's increased, only means better benefits to companies, right? So absolutely right. I think it's a great point.
Yeah, I've already taken so much of your time. So a last question could be on what next for Pathfinder, because we already have so many, we have such an intelligent technology in Pathfinder, right? We are every day we are learning new things, what organizations need, where we can help in, where we can pitch in, what can be developed. And right now we are seeing that cycle is moving very fast. It is very important for organizations like us to move fast. Sure. To meet those demands. So what next? Or do we see the future in the next, say, I'll not go to 3 to 5 years because that's a long time, in the next year, if I could ask you?
Yeah, I think everything is captured within the year now. If you build a plan for a year, when you're starting to talk about reality, if you're building it for the next, 2 to 3 years, I mean, no offense to big companies, but it's a big company, mentality and reality, not for a company at our size where we have to look at every 90 days as life. Right. So Pathfinder has an evolution to become a real solid talent marketplace and then drive towards an opportunity marketplace. And that is opportunity marketplace is building an ecosystem of other products on a platform that allows this employee to really find a life within a set of opportunities that the marketplace will continue to cater to. It means a lot of work has to be done on integrations and creation of the ecosystem, but I think it's a byproduct of leveraging first the talent marketplace across the workforce that we are targeting right now. Today, we have the good fortune of close to 180,000 employees on the Pathfinder application as we are getting into some of our existing customers and deploying it. We have a lot of new customers who are looking at deploying Pathfinder as the first phase because it's about standardization of supply taxonomy, and then you can start doing, internal mobility as a transaction. You can start looking at upskilling and reskilling as a reality, as an initiative that you can see and translate to business benefit, and you can start delivering value into recruitment as well, because like you talked about the quality baseline improving, and you understanding what you really want from an employee to the outside world, and that sort of translates into how you embrace new people into a culture that you're able to support and drive. So I think that's what I see as the next 1 year of getting more Pathfinder deployments, more marketplaces becoming real for companies of different sizes across different geographies. And we as an organization are also very clear about GDPR, SOC 2 Type 2, and ISO 27000K. We have a CISO on board, DPO on board. So we have real targeted movement towards helping companies adopt the platform and helping employees drive change within their environment through just this one factor: transparency. Talent transparency is very important.
Right. I don't think I have anything to ask anymore. Most of my queries have been answered. Is there something else that you would like to add, if you would?
If I think about it, Ananya, you're working with Edge and you're sitting across the board, and I assume you enjoy working here, right? And that's why you have so much zest and initiative. My question to you is, what makes you engaged and what makes you stay here in a startup that has its pitfalls? It's not completely covering all the angles. As a company, it's still at a forming level, and we have so much to do. What is it that drives you? And that I'm asking because I think is a good story for other people to understand when we're talking about something that you get out of this journey.
So Arjun, let me put it that way. On a professional level, what drives me to stay at Edge is the excitement of doing something new every day. So much to lay our hands on. That opportunity to prove myself. Right, I had been on a sabbatical for 7 years, so that energy, validation that somebody is liking what I'm doing. When it comes from you, when it comes from Aparna, when it comes from Suranjan, Shikhar, everybody, in whoever I'm working with, that validation, you are contributing something to the organization. You're not, like a furniture in the organization. No, you are an active part of the growth of the organization. That is something that drives me. I have always wanted to be a part of a place where my views are heard, where I'm respected, where my views are heard and they are given that kind of a value. That's one. Second is the kind of work that I'm doing. A lot of things to learn, a lot of things which I could say experiment on. And the fact that the management, the leadership is okay with it. Because I have worked with organizations which have been in the industry for, say, 60 years, 70 years. They have a very set rule box. You are inside a box. They ask you to think out of the box. It's never accepted. But here, I get that opportunity to think out of the box and implement it. I get that independence. That if you make a mistake, it's okay. We are together. And the third thing is, if I could say, your energy is mind blowing. Your zest, the kind of motivation that you provide is mind blowing. And, I think you should have those all hands quite frequently because it works like magic. When you name those people, when you tell them that you did a great job, your team did a great job, that motivation takes you to another level. I don't know about others, but that is what drives me.
Well, that's great to hear, Ananya. And honestly, this is something that I wanted to understand because I see you relentlessly working along with many others for sure. But let's talk about you every day, like you said, contributing. I know it's a very satisfying experience, and I would say the same that I feel the way you do when I come into work every day, right? So I think the fact that you're emotionally charged and passionate about it. And what I believe is that we need to embrace what you can contribute with how you can contribute. And I'll tell you what I mean is where you're sitting right now is close to your daughter and close to your mom. And that for you also gives you an appetite to continue to plod while if you were at work and they were at home, what would you be dealing with in the separation? I know it's a reality of life and we all dealt with it before, and you have your daughter still functioning somewhere, your mom functioning somewhere, and you assume that that was taken care of and compartmentalized. But what does it do for you if you could just post this conversation, go say hello to your daughter, give her a hug, have a chit chat with your mom and say, this is what you should be thinking about when it's something that's personal, right? I'm not even saying it has to do with something professional, but how you do it is as important as what you're doing. And I think the emotional journey that you're going through is the emotional journey that I go through. So I hear you, and I thank you for every day that you give to Edge as a journey. It's just very meaningful. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Arjun, for your time. Thank you.